Assalamualaikum, hello everyone. Welcome to Pondering Thoughts with Nida Jawed. This is your life coach Nida with a wonderful guest, Maaria. She is an occupational therapist, first-time mom to be, more accurately, going through her experience during the COVID time. We're gonna listen to her story, ask her some wonderful questions that can be used as guiding source for all the first-time moms to be during this year. 2020 has not been easy for a lot of people, especially the first-time moms who are going through a lot of confusion, curiosity, and want some guiding source. We're gonna talk about Maaria's occupation, how that is helping her, and also some of the challenges she has overcome. And all right, Maaria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so glad I can, share my experience and talk about it.
And with that, I would like you to share with our audience, what do you do exactly, and who do you help?
Okay, so as you said before, I'm an occupational therapist. So I work with a lot of special needs kids. They range from all different types of diagnosis, from autism to ADHD to cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. We have developmental delays, speech delays, all different kinds. So my purpose is really to kind of like engage in working on making the child more independent in self-care, independent in writing, independent in thinking, independent in just like a daily routine and daily life.
Okay. Of course, when we serve others, we end up learning something from them as well. Now, my next question to you is, you feel that your occupation is preparing you for your own child?
So a lot of it has to do with really instilling patience. I mean, to work with just kids in general, but to also work with special needs kids.
Right.
You're working on, like I said, all various types of diagnosis. So each kid is different.
Right.
And because each kid is different, you have to cater to what works best with them. So you have kids that, have difficulty with self-regulation. How do they regulate their emotions when they're frustrated? They have a difficult time expressing themselves.
Right.
And because of that, it becomes very frustrating for them, and then it becomes frustrating for the parents. So for me, that also really teaches me how to become more patient throughout all of that. It's not easy. It's a very tough job, and I know it's even harder for the parents too, because we have parents that come up to us and they always ask us like, well, my child is not doing this and this and this, but I see other kids doing it, and I feel for them, because I know it's not easy. It's a very, very tough task. And I know that learning from them and then learning to work with them in that case has actually prepared me to know, all right, so maybe I want to try this with, my future kids one day. Maybe I want to try, certain things and certain aspects that, kind of will help me to become a better parent too, because it's through them that I learn. So it's not just me educating the parents, they're educating me as well.
Yes, first of all, there's a lot of patience involved.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, when it comes to children who can't help themselves and you are the one helping them, from when I hear you talk, I'm hearing an abundance of affection and compassion that needs to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
To feel for these children who you mentioned, that I'm sure this is something that requires practice.
Yeah.
And to continue to give that compassion. So compassion is a huge part of your profession, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
That's where the patience comes from. That's where the understanding comes from.
Yeah.
And you said a wonderful thing, that this is what you're learning from the parents too. So what is one of the major things you have learned through the parents that you would either do or not do?
With the parents, I come across a lot of different parents.
Right.
So we have parents that are very involved, and those are the same parents that when you see how involved they are, especially at an early stage, like early intervention, when kids are getting therapy at like 2-3 years old, and even younger than that, like at infant stage, and throughout the entire process, throughout their entire developmental stages, they're so involved, and they come up to us and they ask us questions. What else should I do? What are the therapy treatments are you guys doing that I can implement, that I can carry over?
Right.
And it's those parents that I see those kids excel, and they do amazing, and they have progressed from like years ago until now, and then you see that stage. I mean, alhamdulillah, it is amazing to see that. So with those parents, I learned so much from them, because I want to be that type of parent that is very involved throughout with their kids' life, knowing how they're doing, what they're doing, talking to them, engaging to them. Right. A lot of times we have to, when we're talking to the kids, we can't talk down to them. We have to get at their level, right, explain to them, talk to them with compassion, see what they're going through, what are they, and with that, especially from when I first started a couple years ago as an OT till now, and I'm still learning, I'm still growing, so I'm not an expert in anything. I'm not trying to in any way tell anybody how to be or how not, but it's through that I learn and experience and grow from that. And it's like, well, that's the type of mother that I want to be, that's the type of parent I want to be, inshallah. So for me, I love working with parents like that. But a lot of times, sometimes those parents don't really give in, or don't really acknowledge, or we give them handouts, we give them parental education, but it just goes into deaf ears. Mm-hmm. So sadly, there are cases like that too. But
and that's where it's what not to be. Don't be a parent that shows negligence towards your child. Yeah. So that's a great lesson to learn. And of course, addressing our first-time moms to be, when we talk about that portion, especially the first-time mommies to be, it comes with a lot of stories.
As a first-time mom, it's a lot of different mixed emotions. You have anxiety, and then you have you're excited, and then there's just so many things going on. And throughout this process, you're constantly always aware of, not just yourself, but about your baby. So it's like every single thing, it's like, no, I can't do this. I have to make sure that I have to be careful with my own child, and making sure that you put your own baby first before you put your own, yourself first. So this experience overall, especially during the time of today's situation, which is COVID-19, because if I'm not paranoid, if I'm not always making sure that I'm doing things that are like washing hands, putting on face masks, taking all precautions, cleaning, sanitizing everything, I mean, it's a lot. And overall, just in general, in the beginning, when everything started happening, I just completely stopped watching the news, because I just felt like it was kind of affecting my own mental health. And because of that, I just wanted to block out all of that and just focus on being positive, making sure I have tawakkul on Allah. And
alhamdulillah for that.
So we have to make sure that these type of things, they're going to come, but you have your protector, you have someone that's there for you to protect you and protect your baby, inshallah. So
being pregnant through this era, and for the first time, it's not easy. Yes. So this is exactly why I need you to be the voice for all the first-time moms to be. So they feel that they're not alone, and there are ways to come around it. Few things that you said that have helped you when it comes to your own sanity and mental health is avoiding news. And being patient, of course, that's number one thing. What else have you listed that came out as great source?
Just in general, the feeling of being pregnant as well, especially throughout these stages, going to ultrasound appointments, hearing the heartbeat, feeling the kicks, feeling all of that. It's just, throughout the entire pregnancy, it hasn't been easy.
So basically, when it comes to dealing with COVID fears, what I'm hearing you say is that you have learned to focus more on the positive aspect of pregnancy rather than COVID itself. What else are you enjoying, keeping yourself distracted from COVID?
Just in general, a lot of what I have to do is self-reflection. I try to do as much as I can to work on meditation.
Okay.
So self-reflection, self-meditation, just a minute just to kind of just relax and just get some peace and quiet.
Right.
And
very
because
necessary.
It's so important. It is very important, because at that moment, just doing some deep breathing, listening to Quran, listening to recitations, every single little details. It doesn't have to be anything major, but just even for 5 minutes out of your day, 10 minutes out of your day.
Right.
Whatever you can do to kind of manage that, and just have life just stop at a moment of just peace and just tranquility and just you and your baby, no one else.
That's a beautiful sense, though.
Yeah.
Just really going inwards and connecting with your baby and really taking yourself away from all the surrounding, this COVID noise.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's exactly what it is.
And that's another thing with COVID, just like my husband hasn't been to the ultrasound appointments because nowadays it's like you cannot have any visitors, any significant others, no spouses that can be allowed past, even in the waiting room they're not allowing them. So going to these appointments by myself, it's a part of it is like, I feel that my husband's missing out those moments. And and I feel like every woman who has gone through this or is going through this is experiencing the same thing of not hearing the heartbeat, not seeing the movement. And so I just have to use my phone to record it, to send it to my husband. So those little things, they do get to you, because these are the moments that you want to share together, and you don't get that opportunity. So to be a first-time mom and not have that experience is soul crushing.
And I can only imagine, if you're feeling this way, I can only imagine what your husband is going through, missing out on these little milestones. And my heart goes out to them, having to miss these important milestones, especially the first time dads to be. So all these milestones you're going through, ultrasound alone, your checkups alone, and your husband is not present. You said you can record it, but if that's not an option, what else have you tried that has helped you through these challenging moments that you have to deal with all of this alone?
A lot of times it's really just acceptance. I mean, we have to accept the situation that we're in. And through that, the good thing is, from my point of view, for like the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, whoever has been surrounded by me, they understand what we're going through. And because of that, they've been very helpful. So I think the best thing to do is say, you know what, we're going through this, we have to accept it. And there are going to be other moments in our life where we're going to share beautiful times together, inshallah. And he'll be there, inshallah, he'll be there to, witness everything and witness the birth, witness our baby coming home the first time, So these are little things that give us some hope that it will be okay.
And that's very important. To go through challenging times, you have to keep positive mindset, even when it feels like it's difficult. And that's number one thing throughout the questions I'm asking you and how you're describing your pregnancy. That's something that sticks out. Positivity is pulling you through this whole time.
That's all we have to do. We have this is a situation that we're brought upon, and as much as it's also difficult, but we have to just be like, well, this is what we have, and we're going to have to get through this.
Exactly. Now, we just talked about COVID being the noise. It's also true whenever first-time mommies or not, any woman is pregnant, she gets a lot of advice, free advice everywhere, right? It happens. It has happened to me. I'm sure you're experiencing it one way or the other. Now, of course, as kindness, and because we're so sweet and you're so sweet, you just accept it, you listen to it, and however you feel about it, you don't react to it, right? Most moms out there, am I lying? You don't react to it. And you just take it like a good sport and you listen to it. Whether or not you accept it, it depends on you. Now, when we speak of advice that's given when you're not even asking for help, when it comes to that, whether it be advice or something that people come and talk to you, many people don't know how to react to a pregnant woman. Some people just want to touch your belly or however that goes, right? So a few of the things that agitated you, or is still, you feel offended, or you wish people just wouldn't say, because there are a lot of first-time mommies that are feeling it and have not said it. So stage is yours. Go for it.
First thing first is never ever talk about a woman's weight, especially during pregnancy, because that's the most sensitive topic, because obviously there's certain women, and just women in general, that have no control. It's every person is different. Every pregnant woman is different. So for me, when I first was pregnant at this, and I was growing to the stages, I've heard people come up to me and be like, your belly is small. That means that your baby's going to be small. And it comes off as like, ugh, just, I don't want to, you don't want to hear stuff like that. You don't want to hear, certain comments and then, you hear about things about like, the way how you walk, the way how you talk, the little things about like, oh, you can't drink this is bad for you. You can't drink that. This is, this is not good for you. And it's little things like that, kind of like, it's like, I'm a human too. I need to, just have some moments of, just, even if it's a little bit of chocolate, you have cravings, simple things like that. And, some people will make a comment about it. People who would, especially in the Desi community, it's very common for people to make comments about, well, yeah, you're having a girl, but it would be better if you had a boy first, or so we come across as a lot of things like that. Not worried about other people would say. Yeah. For me, it's just, I'm happy what I am. This is my journey, this is my time. And I think every pregnant woman has their own journey. They have to deal with, unfortunately, they deal with these type of comments, sometimes insulting comments. And, you just have to be like, understand that, sometimes people cannot change their mindset. People cannot, people are going to say all these types of things to you, and, just, one ear out the other. So don't even bother even listening to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hear it, but don't listen to it. That's the moral of the story when it comes to all the noise that is surrounding you. So you see, COVID is just part of the problem. We are living in a society where certain standards have been set. Societal acceptance of certain things. Now, yes, it's something that is present when it comes to gender of your child.
I mean, it should be celebrated with both boy and girl.
Exactly, because hey boys, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your mommy. So mommies rule, and so do girls, right? Alhamdulillah for the queens that bring about the kings.
Yes.
And that's how it is. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And when we talk about power, if it wasn't for a little girl to grow up to be an empowering mother, we wouldn't have the leaders that we do.
Yeah, exactly.
As a woman or as a man. So never underestimate the power of a little girl. Now, this is something that's interesting. Obviously, my era when I had kids was completely different. I shared that with you earlier. And then when we speak of our mothers, it's a different time.
Yeah.
And of course, as first-time moms-to-be, or even moms-to-be, rather, whether it's your third, fourth time, every time, again, it comes to advices. You get different advice from different people. My advice obviously won't be as relevant because I had my child 13 years ago.
Hey, any advice is always irrelevant, no matter what. Mother is a mother.
Yeah. Well, as a mother, I can tell you a lot, but as a pregnant woman, I can't. The feelings may be relatable, but you're experiencing your body in a completely different way. Now, when it comes to advice, there is a generational difference. You have advice from your sisters, you have advice from your mother. Different people are telling you different things. Now, what is one difference that you notice between moms of this era and moms from generation above? How is the advice different between the two generations?
Well, what I've noticed is that with different generations is like we have evolved so much during the time, and back then, even during my mom's time, not even my sisters, but even Dadi's time, Nani's time, everyone, they did everything by themselves. The older generation time, they didn't really have much help raising kids, going through pregnancy alone. My mom first came here, she didn't have her mother here. She didn't have anyone else around except my dad. What I notice nowadays that the advice that they kind of give is so different from what I'm experiencing now. Alhamdulillah, we have, spouse, we have, men in our life are just so different now than how they were before. True. Now they're more engaging, they're more involved. They will help you out throughout the pregnancy. They will help you out even after pregnancy. So a lot of the times that the advice that they give is more of, make sure, different times and different generations would be saying that, as a pregnant woman, try to get as much rest as you can.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult, especially in the Pakistani community. They say, you know,
Right.
pregnant women just lay down on the bed. But, you know, we hear that say, you know, that's not really a good thing to do even while pregnant. You know, you want to be as active as you can. You want to be, you know, moving around, engaging, and be as involved as you can throughout the pregnancy, and be as active as you can. Active physically, mentally, and emotionally.
You know, you just made a thought trigger in my head. It's true that when
Pondering thoughts.
Pondering thoughts.
Exactly.
There we go. She triggered thoughts. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking of different things because it really points out right now. We're talking about our Desi culture. We're talking about Pakistani culture. Now, what you said is our moms, when they were pregnant, did not get a lot of opportunity to rest because they're in a new country, they're pregnant, they're expecting, they don't have family or any kind of help surrounding them. So their number one advice is get as much rest possible. So I'm thinking this is something that was kind of not provided for them, denied to them, or they did not have a privilege to rest. So when they see they are able to help us or help you, rather, let's say if it's your mom, they will do anything to make sure that their daughter-in-law gets rest.
Right.
Because this is something I didn't do.
Yeah.
And that's where that advice is coming from. Give someone what you did not have. That's actually kind of beautiful.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about newer generation, moms who are around your age. What is some of the advice that you get from moms that are around your age and let's say younger generation overall?
From what I've seen, the most common is try to get as much sleep as you can right now.
So they're focusing
That's
on
all
sleep too.
Everything is all about sleep. Get as much sleep as you can because after the baby, you will not have any sleep. You will not be able to watch movies. You won't be able to have any date nights or go out as much because your entire focus is just the baby.
True.
So they're like, enjoy as much as you can now. That's a constant advice I always get every single time.
So now, shifting our focus back to help. And we're talking about how our moms didn't have help, and alhamdulillah, in today's time, this is something that's changing. Men are more involved, you have mentioned, and having a supportive husband to walk through this hurdle with you and help you through this whole, experience is a gift.
Right.
Undoubtedly. But of course, he has his limitations too. Like, for example, he can help you tie your shoe, but if you're standing up, he's not going to be able to help you see your feet, right? So when we talk about help, he has limitations too. And now, what are some of the things you wish that you had help with, but everyone is helpless and they can't really help you in that area? So what are some of those things?
Kudos to every man out there who help their wives as much as they can. I think the biggest struggle is that they feel helpless too, and they can't. But they try to be as much as an emotional support, physical support. Is my own experience is me going through back pain, sciatica pain is just, it's a big, and I'm sure every woman has experienced this. A lot of pregnant women have experienced this. I personally have experienced it. Waking up in the mornings, getting out of bed, trying to get up and go to work, things like that, they become very difficult. So just overall, in that sense, my husband is helpless because he's like, I wish I could take the pain away. But unfortunately, this is something that he knows that I have to go through, and eventually it'll get better after a while. And then we're just kind of just hoping that inshallah, this fast forward to, the end of the pregnancy when, everything will be better in this sense. Let's see. Inshallah.
There are limitations with that. And being a first time mom to be, and even during pregnancy, whether it be your third, fourth, or fifth, emotional turmoil is always present, and so is physical pain. So since you mentioned physical pain, let's talk about that first. Your husband can't take away your pain, but there are a few things that you have tried to ease through it. Let's talk about that. What are some of the things that have helped you?
So the main thing is we have to do is make sure that you are still being active even through the pain. So even if I'm exercising, even if I'm going for a walk, even if I'm trying to get up out of bed, I'm still trying to push through that pain because I know that if I just lay down and just stay there, the pain's just going to get worse.
Right.
So for me, I try to do, especially in general, there's a lot of prenatal yoga exercises out there. So many that you can get access to. And these prenatal yogas not only help relieve pain and the stretches itself, but they also really prepare you for birth. So, you know, just trying to work on any type of activity, even if it's swimming, even if it's walking, even if it's, you know, going to the gym and working out, if your body is used to it, of course.
Yeah.
You know, things like that, you know, just try to be as active as you can, because eventually the pain will subside. And even if the pain doesn't go away even until end of pregnancy, which I know most likely it won't, I still have to try to manage the pain as much as I can, using heating pads, using you know, ice packs or whatever. Definitely talk to your doctor. I would definitely recommend anyone who is going through any type of activity or doing any type of activity through pregnancy, talk to their physician, talk to their healthcare provider, because that is the best thing that you can understand. Okay, what are some things that are my limitations? What are some things that I can do and that I can't do? And then your healthcare provider would help you in that sense.
True,
Yeah.
true. And that's a really good advice. Start with talking to your doctor.
Yeah.
Come up with a pain management plan.
Yeah.
And work through it. And I'm sure being an occupational therapist, this is helping you somewhat.
Exactly.
You know exactly how to manage your pain.
Exactly. And there's things that, you know, you wish, you know, back in when your pre-pregnancy days, when you weren't pregnant, you could easily pop a pill or something, you know, and when you're pregnant, you're just like, I'm limited to these options, so I have to choose one or the other. Overall, I think the best thing to really do is just to listen to your body. Your body is what can actually really give you an insight of what you can and you cannot do. So if you feel that sort of immense pain where you cannot walk, you cannot get out of bed, then just try to rest as much as you can.
Yeah.
But if you feel that, you know, your body can push through this, then by all means you can do that. But the first thing, always listen to what your body is telling you. Because if your body is telling you, hey, you need to slow down, you need to stop, this pain is getting worse, then you need to stop. Whether it's taking off time from work, whether it's, you know, just having your husband watch your other kids or something like that, anything in general, or having, you know, spouse or someone else come to cook, whatever it is that you can, always listen to your body first. Because in the end, you are the one that's going through this journey. You are the one that's going through this process. So you have to make sure that you are acknowledging your own body's response to that.
And a very wonderful advice. Listen to your body first, because it knows you better than anyone else. You know, when we speak about emotional turmoil, we talked about noise, we talked about advice and all that. When we go back to it, there's a lot that people don't understand about first-time pregnancy in particular, because a first-time mom-to-be has so much confusion, and this year it's added confusion, right? Some things you have noticed that people don't understand specifically about first-time moms-to-be, and you wish they understood.
Me, I've come across as like, you know, this is the first time I'm experiencing this, and I just like any other woman, as a first-time mom, I also go through that confusion of, well, am I exaggerating? Is this something that, you know, I feel that is not as severe as other women or whatever? But, you know, as we all go through different journeys, like I said before, every pregnant woman goes through different journeys. We tend to realize that, you know, we're not exaggerating. This is something that is real. You know, our bodies are different. Especially as a first-time mom, like I realized that there are certain things that I can't do anymore that I used to do before, especially now that, you know, I'm in my 3rd trimester. So things are becoming harder and harder to do, you know, just bending down, picking stuff up, even carrying anything, different things like that. It becomes harder. So I think it's very important for other people to kind of just understand and be a little bit more sympathetic, especially to first-time moms, because they don't know what they're doing. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
That's true.
You know, and I'm sure that even after pregnancy, after the birth of the baby, it's going to be very different, because, you know, there are still things that even 20 years from now, I probably still question and know, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing?
Well, you're just going through the first stage of confusion.
Exactly.
It's just going to continue as a first-time mom, and then as a first-time grandmommy, and you know,
exactly.
It all continues. But kudos to you and all the first-time moms to be, especially this year, putting through with so much confusion, anxiety, and holding on to a positive attitude. One lesson that you have learned through the journey of pregnancy, especially this year, that you think you're going to take with you for the rest of your life?
As I said before, is really like just being patient with yourself.
Yeah.
You know, really understanding that what you're going through is part of life. We all have to go through this. And even though I have certain fears of pregnancy and birth stories and this and that, you know, some things like, you know, you just can't always control.
So again, Maaria, thank you so much for being our guest. And to all the first-time moms out there, I hope you have a great takeaway from all that Maaria has shared with us about how you can cope with your fears, how you can be patient with yourself and your body throughout this journey, and inshallah, how you can take all of that with you for the rest of your life. Now, before we have Maaria give her sense of wisdom to you all, I will want you to subscribe to Pondering Thoughts with Nida Jawed.
At this point, use a pregnancy card. Don't be afraid to use it. I mean, if you have to use a pregnancy card for any excuse to get out of doing chores, lifting anything heavy, just, you know, take advantage of this moment, and, you know, just try to, you know, be as positive as you can. And especially during this time with COVID, you know, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear. So just be as protective as you can. Try to take as many precautions, that safety precautions, to, you're not just protecting your own health, you're protecting your baby's health. So,
absolutely.
You know, even if, you know, people are thinking that you're paranoid, be paranoid. You know, we're in a pandemic right now. Another thing is always manage your stress.
Manage your stress.
Manage stress, because stress through pregnancy is just the most difficult thing, and you just have to, it's not that nobody goes through stress, everyone goes through stress, even pregnant women go through stress, so you really have to manage and make sure that you are controlling that. Manage it through meditation, manage it through just a moment of just peace and tranquility, just alone if you have to do.
You can be a great parent when you are a positive parent. You know how to be sane during the time your child drives you insane. And everything else. So thank you so much for hanging out with us and listening to Maaria's journey, her being voice for all the first-time moms. I really, truly appreciate your time and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Again, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.